China is constructing a new wall. This, however, is not the Great Wall of China that China aspires to build. China's dry land will be utilized to benefit the Chinese people. According to UN estimates, drylands, which include massive deserts, cover 41.3% of the Earth's surface. The majority of the planet's surface is unsuitable for cultivation. China grew worried about the expanding desert in the 1970s and initiated a push to regulate it. Consider the second decade of the 20th century. Their initiatives have decreased deserts and increased agricultural yields. Over 3 million square miles are committed to maintaining China's 3.5 million inhabitants. Only 12% of the land, on the other hand, is ideal for agriculture. As a consequence, China can feed 22% of the world's population. Wouldn't you agree it is a respectable attempt? The Chinese government was concerned about one issue, however: the Gobi Desert. The Gobi Desert covers about 500,000 kilometers of northern China and southern Mongolia. In other words, despite government promises that desert invaders would not be arriving to Beijing anytime soon, the expanding dryness in northern China poses a major danger to the country and its people. The Gobi Desert's grasslands are changing at a pace of 2250 miles per year, making it the world's fastest growing desert. As a consequence of this expansion, agricultural land is being devastated and sandstorms are causing havoc on desert outposts. Since the 1950s, when the Young People's Republic of China started cultivating farmland and wildlands to develop communities and infrastructure to accommodate a rising population, the nation has gradually degraded its soil. This human activity aggravated wind erosion and desert deposits. Since the 1970s, the government has concentrated solely on desertification and its prevention. The Chinese government initiated the three North Shelterable projects, collectively known as the Great Green Wall, in 1978. Another unofficial term was Lu's Changcheng, or the Great Green Wall of China. The author is commonly assumed to be Deng Xiaoping. The purpose of this project is to plant millions of trees along the Gobi Desert's 2,800-mile border with northern China. It is intended that the trees would function as a windbreak, slowing the desert spread. Many large-scale forestation initiatives have lately obtained government funding, culminating in the world's largest tree planting endeavor. Everyone above the age of 11 is obligated to plant 3 poplar, eucalyptus, or larches in support of the cause each year. In return for government leases, farmers and private landowners are paid to plant seedlings. Growers take wood from aged trees. As a result, some individuals have become very wealthy. Rather of revolution, capitalism was used to cultivate trees. Reforestation is an important environmental endeavor all over the world. Drought-tolerant plants are planted after natural grasses and trees. Poplars, for example, are among the most difficult trees to down. Planting workers disperse seeds around the plains. Ministers and other members of China's ruling elite plant trees with professionals and laypeople. Surprisingly, almost 500 million people take part in this yearly event. Even though billions of trees have already been planted, the project's objective is to plant 100 billion trees by 2050. In China, trees may now be grown online. Donations are collected and planted lawfully. According to Chinese official estimates, around 66 billion trees have been planted in northern China during the previous few decades. Between 2009 and 2014, several shifting dunes were stabilized and the frequency of sandstorms in the country was cut in half. According to a Chinese Academy of Sciences study, over 7.88 million hectares of windbreak trees and 336,200 square kilometers of desertification had been reversed in the previous 40 years. Because of the deployment of this strategy, total forest coverage has grown from 10% in 1949 to around 25% now. According to the government, deserts have grown by 10,400 square kilometers per year since 2000. In 2017, it fell to about 2,400 square kilometers each year compared to the previous year. Even though just 5% of the northern half is presently covered by vegetation, the Gobi Desert is undergoing a rebirth as a result of a mix of lush vegetation, rich soil, and increased rainfall. Another remarkable achievement was the establishment of a lush, wooded patch in northern China's Muos Desert. China's Muos Desert is one of the largest in the nation at its present size, 93% vegetated. At the turn of the 20th century, over 2/3 of China was dry. As a result of its efforts, the government anticipates the rate to fall to 18% by 2020. China's efforts, however, are not restricted to the Great Green Wall. Many pieces of legislation were enacted in the early 2000s, and scientists are always trying to improve the process. The Chinese government said at the 2021 National People's Congress that they would expand the amount of area held by force from 23% to 24% by 2025. Despite its lofty goals, the Great Green Wall project is far from complete. The majority of individuals opposed to the idea are anti-monoculture. Because most forests include just one tree species, they are particularly vulnerable to epidemics. The vast number of trees have been killed by plant diseases. A World Bank suggestion for China is to prioritize tree species quality above number. A debate over the future of forests erupted a few years ago. Despite official efforts, pollution in China's largest cities, particularly Beijing, is on the increase. The wind is in charge of removing pollution from cities. This, however, is no longer the case. It may be hard to clear a lack of air movement in cities caused by new forest plants. There are certain disadvantages to mass tree planting. Farmers in southwest China have been discovered removing natural vegetation as part of a government push to gain government subsidies for the growth of non-native plants. Another factor to consider is water. Large expanses of China are becoming drier, especially in tree planting areas. Groundwater resources in arid northern China have been depleted due to the project's thirsty non-native plants. Because of the scarcity of water in the region, new trees are born and die alongside old ones, creating a vicious cycle. According to a 2019 study, the number of semi-arid areas in China increased by 33% between 1994 and 2008, compared to the period from 1948 to 1962. According to a 2004 survey, just around 15% of trees planted since 1978 had survived. Fortunately, the National Forestry Department has learned from its errors and is now growing shrubs rather than trees in arid places. If you liked the video, do give a thumbs up to the video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification icon. Also, tell us what topics we should cover in our upcoming videos. Thanks a lot. Stay blessed. Stay safe.